Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, and this is...
Martin Snow.
Hello, Martin. We're out on another stroll today. You've got your sun hat on.
Yes, the sun's out.
In the depths of November, which is lovely.
Yeah, it's freezing cold.
It is a bit chilly. Where are we, Martin?
We're standing on we're at Broadwater Green.
Yes.
We're standing on a former air raid shelter.
We are. We're in Broadwater Green, which is what, 2 miles north? 1 mile north of Worthing?
1.5, 2 miles, yes.
In West Sussex. Jolly old West Sussex. And we're on, what did you say? An air raid shelter?
Air raid shelter, or the remains of.
Yes. Well, and can we get down there?
Not now. It's all closed off.
Can anybody get down there?
The fire brigade use it for smoke practice.
You mean they nip down there and have a fag?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I've got you. Right. Well, the reason we're in Broadwater and on the green, which is an ancient green, isn't it?
That's right. It goes back. Well, time immemorial.
Time immemorial. It's never been.
Time.
It's never been built on, and it's quite a big one. And I suppose a lot of villages have the village green.
Yes.
And each one is. Most of the greens are the centre of the village, and perhaps comes from common land for grazing and share.
That's the origin.
Origin, yeah.
Yes.
And of course, it's if you live with a village green, it's very nice. This one used to have a pond. We're going to have a look at that in a second.
Yes.
And there used to be it used to be slightly bigger than this, but I wanted to sort of point out a few things about this village green because there's things here that are there were things here that are no longer here. So shall we have a stroll that way?
Yes, certainly.
Right, so we're right at the end. So beneath our feet is the air raid shelter, which people would have been diving in from 1940 onwards.
Yes.
But if we go back to the Victorian area, where we are now looking at a roundabout, there wasn't a roundabout there. What was there?
No, there was a school and a smithy.
A school and a sort of a school and a smithy. That seems a strange combination, doesn't it? A school and a smithy. But they were effectively right next door.
Yes.
And I suppose the reason I wanted to sort of come and have a look at that is that things in history are erected, buildings in history are erected, and then they are pulled down again. Sometimes it seems for no good reason.
Sometimes.
And then all trace of it goes, which is a pity when it's a lovely... When you see pictures of it or drawings of places and they're beautiful looking things, and suddenly progress is deemed that a horrible little roundabout is what is necessary for progress. What other things were here, or can we still see that has survived?
Well, you've got the Cricketers pub, which
yes.
is associated with cricket, strangely enough.
And that was played on the green
and that
here.
Was played, yes, very early.
For a very long time.
Yeah.
Yes. And they still play cricket here.
And they still play cricket. Not today.
Not today.
It's too cold.
Yes. I don't really know when the cricket season is. And then across the road from us, there's an interesting set of buildings, one of which says Parish Rooms, 1889. What were the parish rooms for? On old maps, it says reading rooms.
Right.
What is a reading? I mean, a reading room isn't a library, is it?
No, it would. It was more of a social gathering.
Right.
They may well have had newspapers. The current newspaper.
The other interesting thing is the road that goes beyond this now is dual carriage, not as in a dual carriageway of sort of 60 miles an hour or whatever the national speed limit is. This green has been reduced in size by, again, progressive policies.
Encroachment, yes.
Encroachment.
Yes, when they wanted to speed up the traffic, they took the width of the second carriageway off the green.
Yes. So we mentioned cricket, and here, this rather gruesome, ugly building is the cricket pavilion. I don't know when it went up. It looks like a sort of 1960s.
It looks 60s, doesn't it? That'd be about right.
And, when you see villages in England, they've got beautiful cricket pavilions. What perverse mind ever conceived this dreadful monstrosity.
The same people as invented Tevill Gate, probably.
Oh yeah, that's true. And more of that is with the fire station, which is also adjacent to us, which looks pretty monstrous. But
60s or 70s, yes.
Yes. So Broadwater, we're in Broadwater. It's so named. Well, Martin, why is it so named?
Well, it's named after a Broadwater,
right,
which was an inlet of the sea.
So that it's one of those things that happens quite a bit, I suppose. Is you have a place, it's named after something, and then all evidence of that something has gone. The sea came in, didn't it, originally?
Yes, right up to not very far away.
Not very far away from here.
Yes.
But that was 1,000 years ago, and it's possible that they were boats moored up from overseas.
Quite possibly, yes. It would have been wide enough for that.
And then the shingle, I mean, we have this strange effect of the shingle being shifted by the motion of the sea. I guess that's the channel that does that.
It's the movement of the water.
Yes.
It's called Longshore Drift because it drifts along the shore.
But it's always eastwards, isn't it?
Well, it is along the south coast.
Right. So what happened in this case, this eastward Longshore Drift shunted a whole load of shingle over time and stopped the inlet of water, if I've got this right, so that the sea no longer came in.
Exactly, and then it silted up. Some of it became solid land, some of it is still sort of slightly marshy.
Right, okay, so that history of the water is still there by the marsh.
Yes, and the springs coming out into it.
So Martin, we're coming up now to the area where the pond was. There's no longer a pond, and you might be thinking, well, so what? You know, ponds come and go. Well, maybe they do and maybe they don't. But there is a slight dip that we're just walking in on Broadwater Green where it was. But there's a significant thing about this pond, and that a lot of medieval villages had, and it would have been lovely to have been around to witness this thing being used, but I have to tread so carefully, especially with the amount of feminists out there in the world today. What was there, Martin?
Are you going to make me say it?
I'm going to make you say it, yes.
There was a ducking stool.
A ducking stool. Now, who doesn't know what a ducking stool is? But if you don't, Martin's going to explain.
Yeah, look it up on Wikipedia.
Yeah, there you go.
No, it was like a seesaw,
yes,
with a stool on the end, and they put certain ladies in it. It thought that what often they were thought to have been gossips or scolds, or other ways that they want, other sins that they wish to punish.
Yes.
In the female of the species.
Old hags.
Or young hags,
yes,
as the case
I'm not
may
really
be.
supposed to. What about witches and things like that?
Could well have done. I'm
not too sure.
Not too sure about that.
So this.
No, they burnt those, didn't they?
They burnt witches, but there were things like, you know, if they drowned, then they obviously weren't a witch, and if they didn't drown, then they were witches. They were this sort of weird
catch-22
thing. So yeah, there was there's a drawing of them. Of this ducking stool in this area, and it's quite a long thing, and it sticks out obviously to the middle of the pond where it was deepest, I suppose.
You want to get a good depth.
Yeah, and these poor women tied up for whatever reason, and the whole crowd presumably would come out to witness this.
Well, to cheer it on.
To cheer it on. Quite humiliating, I
we're going to be in trouble, aren't we?
Yes. And then they were immersed in that cold, nasty, muddy, who knows what was being in there, dead sheep, all sorts of things.
That's it, especially on a cold day like today.
Yes, they must have been awful. So that, thankfully, has gone. I say thankfully, very advisedly.
We must say thankfully it's gone.
It's gone. And that spectacle will obviously never return. But I suppose with 21st century mindset, it has its amusing element to it, but perhaps we should not think about it too much.
They'd be knocking on our door.
Absolutely. So today, all we've done is just taken a little stroll around a green here in Broadwater. One of the reasons was one of my viewers said, I'm moving to Broadwater, could you do something about that? Oh, that was the other thing. I've remembered the other thing that I wanted to say before we go. Broadwater was one of those, and this is the fundamental thing, Broadwater is one of those places, a bit like Tarring, that was here long before Worthing really became more than a tiny little fishing village.
Yeah.
Or
Not even a village.
Not even a village, a hamlet.
Yeah.
And over time, Broadwater's sort of importance, yes, that's the word I was searching for, diminished. And of course, Worthing, thanks to the dipping into the seas of the Victorians and the Georgians and the Victorians, who thought that was a healthy thing to do, suddenly didn't want to. They came through Broadwater, but they went to Worthing and it grew, and Broadwater is now really just a place that you drive through and you don't think twice about it, which I think is a bit of a shame because it's far, far older and has a richer history.
That's right, but then maybe that's what, the fact that Worthing's taken over from it has protected the heritage that is still here. That would probably have gone the same way as some of the beautiful buildings that we love.
That's right.
In Worthing.
So maybe another time we'll come back and look at some of the buildings here and a bit more of the other heritage in Broadwater. But from Martin and I, on the green, thanks for watching and
goodbye.
Goodbye. Game of cricket? No, it's too cold.